Back here on CBS Sports HQ, the penultimate college football playoff rankings. These are the top 12 teams. But these will not be the teams that are in the field. Have to see if the ACC will be in the field. We know the group of 5 will be in the field. Could they have 2 teams in the field? Miami and BYU right now on the outside looking in. And as of right now, here's what the bracket looks like. Current committee rankings. So it's Oklahoma and Alabama. All right. So we get another matchup there. Oklahoma beat Alabama by 2 earlier in the season. Oregon going to welcome in the 12 seed. The 11 seed could perhaps be the group of 5 champion, visiting Ole Miss. Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Hey, didn't they play each other earlier in the season? Yes, they did. They played an absolute barn burner, and it was a game that Notre Dame lost by 1. And it was a thrilling game. We could get a rematch in the first round. That game would be in College Station. It was in South Bend the first time around earlier this season. All right, back here with Richard Johnson, Adam Brenneman, Emery Hunt. And look, the big brands here might be left out. Texas, 3 losses, but they have a path. At least that's what the committee tells us. They come in at 13, up 3 spots. They take down previously undefeated Texas A&M. They scheduled Ohio State week 1. Maybe they shouldn't have done that. Sorry about that for you. But they also shouldn't have lost to Florida.
That's the path, right? You shouldn't have lost to Florida Road. You shouldn't beat Ohio State Lane. Like those, that's.
You shouldn't have lost by 25 points to Georgia.
Thank you. So those are the reasons why Texas is on the outside looking in. And even though they're playing their best ball now, granted, that's a little bit inflated because of Arkansas right there with their defense. That's a little bit inflated because of Mississippi State, but they had to come back in that ball game. And Vanderbilt, they were beating Vanderbilt soundly. Vanderbilt came back with points-wise to cover. But the A&M game is impressive, but the Georgia game sitting right there as a reminder of why Texas is going to be on the outside looking in. I would have been willing to overlook the Florida loss had they beaten Georgia, or vice versa. They won Georgia or won Florida and lost to Georgia, fine. But the third loss being what it was, it's hard to keep Texas.
Texas is the team that you would love to see a path to be in the playoff because, honestly, as a guy who loves football, the way Texas is playing right now, that win against A&M was one of, if not the best win of the year in college football. The fact that there's no path for them to be in is disappointing if you're a Texas fan. I mean, after watching that game, I tweeted it. I was like, Texas has to be in the playoff. And I go back and look, and there's not a path to get in. Who's leaving the playoff? It's honestly a case for expanding the playoff. But the other thing about Texas is there were some close losses in there as well. It almost lost to Kentucky, almost lost to Mississippi State. There were opportunities for Texas to make a better case. And you mentioned the Georgia score. If that's a one-score game, maybe this is a different conversation, but lose by 25 points.
Yeah, it's not just the 3 losses. It's the game control against Kentucky, the game control against Mississippi State, having to go to overtime. These are qualifications. These are measurements the committee looks at. Game control, as much as you want to argue with it, that's part of what they look at.
Emery's point is great. Alabama has the worst loss of any of these teams, right? To Florida State, week 1 by 2 scores. Sure. But Texas has that extra loss. It's not just the Florida loss that you're holding them to. It's the way the Georgia loss ends up looking final score. When you put those 2 things together, it's just too much. And I do not want to hear from Steve Sarkisian that, we may not schedule a team like Ohio State again. Do you really want us to do that? You're going to keep a good team on your schedule because you know that your fans do not want to watch you play a full G5 or FCS slate of home games in the non-conference. You know that to put butts in seats and revenue in the coffers, you got to play one of those big money home games, and Texas will continue to do so.
But you don't have to now that you've added a conference game, right? Beginning next year, 9 conference games in the SEC. You could say, no, we're going to schedule a couple, 2 or 3
They already have some on the books. I believe they have Michigan on the books in the future. They already have some of these games on the books in the future. I don't think they're canceling those.
No, not canceling, but you know that now that they're going to have 9 conference games, they're going to go, look, we need to find a better way if we stub our toe at a Mississippi State, right? No disrespect to them, but if we go to Kentucky and we lose at Kentucky or something like that, we basically build ourselves a safety net. Like, we've got to go and play, again, no disrespect to Chattanooga. I have to say this because all these schools are Division I, and I don't want to put any, bad word about some of these schools. These are all really good schools in Division I. Right, it's good football. My point is that some of these losses, they're looked at bad losses.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree with Richard. I think these teams will stop scheduling these big-time games. I mean, the Texas example is perfect. You lose by a score to Ohio State, and everyone's saying you can't put a 3-loss team in the playoff. All 3-loss teams are not created equal. They're different, and Texas is different, and they're now being punished because they played Ohio State week 1. If this was a 2-loss Texas team with a loss to Florida and then a loss to who's the second loss to?
Ohio State, Florida, and then Georgia.
And Georgia. And then a loss to Georgia. They'd be in the playoff with 2 losses.
Correct.
With those losses.
Over Notre Dame.
Over Notre Dame. But because they have 3 in that Ohio State game, they're not going to be in the playoff. So if you're an administrator, if you're a head coach, what do you want to do? You want to win a championship in your conference, and you want to make the college football playoff. You don't need to play a tough non-conference game to do it. I was at Penn State, and they changed the schedule completely. Now, it didn't work out for them. but stop playing Pitt early in the season because the argument was we get judged by a record. Let's play Villanova instead of Pitt and make sure we get a win. Now, you can make the argument of does it develop your team during the season, Emory, but I don't think these teams will play the tough non-conference games.
The plan for Texas was to not lose to Florida. I think they was like, we could lose to Ohio State. They'll say that's a good. We expect to lose to Georgia. That'll be a good game.
Yep.
But they expected to at least lose 2. The Florida one was the fly in the ointment, to use Tim Brando's statements, that the fact that they didn't plan to lose to Florida. But the problem here is when we look at Alabama. If we're going by the eye test, Alabama has not looked good as the season has gone along. If Auburn can catch, they beat Alabama, and now Texas has a pathway to get in. But because Alabama is sitting there, and not only just sitting there, but moved up to 9, it's like, bro, if we're being honest, Alabama doesn't look like.
But Alabama had a stretch where they won 8 in a row and included a win against Georgia.
That's fine. But
So
if it's about to get the
can't
best,
say they haven't looked good all season.
No, I'm saying if it's about getting the best teams in the postseason, we have to also factor in eye tests. And sometimes, even though their record says what it is, Alabama doesn't look like number 9 right now.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what the committee says, and that's what they have the final result, and they have the final say.
We've seen the committee before, so
Well, but that's the world we live in until you're the commissioner of the NCAA or the CFP.
Soon.
Until you let our bosses here know that you are going to be running for commissioner. It's fine if you want to run for judge.
No, I still want to be on air getting these takes off.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Analyze the committee while
That's
a terrible decision.
All right, analyze this, okay? Massive implications in the ACC championship. 7-5 Duke against Virginia. Cavs beat the Blue Devils by 17 2 weeks ago. If Duke were to beat Virginia, it would open the door for your boys, James Madison Dukes, to make the playoff, potentially leave the ACC on the outside looking in.
Well, timeout, because here's the other issue that I have with this whole thing. Because we can't decide, pick and choose when a team is a Power 4 team and when it's not. We still don't like who's at the top. Because people are now, the ACC is weak, because it ain't Clemson, it ain't Florida State. But because it's Duke and Virginia, now you think the ACC is right there with the Sun Belt Conference. No, this is a Power 4 conference, and you can't use you can't talk out both sides of your mouth. You can't use the SEC's argument, well, we beat up on each other, so therefore a 7-5 team should be in because he won the conference championship. Just because it's Duke and they're in the ACC and because it's basketball season, don't use that against the ACC. But I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? If they do lose, it does open the door for some best conferences, James Madison, to get in. Because that's what should happen because they're the highest ranked, the second highest ranked G5. But Virginia, the argument is, why are they ranked 17th? They played really good football, and they should be ranked higher than that because the committee, again, is stacking the books with,
Who are you taking over Virginia on a neutral field? Who are you taking Virginia over Virginia?
No one.
San Antonio.
I'm taking Virginia over USC. I'm taking Virginia over Utah. That game may be in the hundreds. I'm taking Virginia over Vandy. I'm taking them over Texas.
Stop it.
Over
You are
Texas?
not taking Virginia
over Texas.
on
I'm
a
taking
neutral
Virginia
field
I am taking Virginia
over Texas.
I'm taking Virginia.
It could be at Virginia.
Virginia wouldn't lost to Florida.